that they have options.
Again, though, they have been afforded out of team on Lecro near M. Get donked.
И переклики как-то.
Plopsky. Not even needed. Grenade.
Difficult and stressful areas in the map to take. Good shot from Dupree from his home base here.
Device running out of chances, running out of room. The Molotov forces him.
Whoa. This spot.
He could still sweep this. That bomb is halfway tipped. And Twist could be easily caught off guard, but he misses. Too many chances gone. As the defuse comes through and the lead cut to 2, 11-13, still favoring Astralis.
Hey, it's a good sign that it's tense no matter what, and yet Ninjas continue to succeed. I like that. You know, it's more credit to the victory if they pull it off. It makes it even more impressive. Again, Ninja's map pick, but they know, we know, the fans at home know, they're not favored on any map they play versus Astralis. You know, it might come close, but you'd expect Astralis, you know, to take this, whether it's a series or any individual map. Rough stuff. Close there in the clutch situation. Once again, it's a 1v3, but you never write them out. Pretty much anybody on this roster that we can see here in front of us. Now it's going to be another pause called as things are talked about. We haven't seen a lot of what Ninjas want to do on Train CT side. We haven't seen many of their aggressive options being taken out. They haven't had many anti-ecos to worry about so far. And they're finally kind of in the driver's seat, it feels like. They can set the standard here in round 25. One op for Twist. And an op for Device, 2 SGs, 2 AKs. Astralis buying for broke. They've got not much money left over, but the same can be said for Ninjas. Even strength and firepower. And we're off to the races. As sandwich smoke comes out. It's 3 charged towards the inner sight. 1 peels off into ladder. Device takes position, holding on to the lower ramp. Plopsky's already made his way up ladder off of the Molotov.
There was 2 of them in there for NIP. And as one sits back behind the molly, Plopsky,
I think he might
just flies through it.
Did he wait on the ladder to see if that nade would come out? I feel like there's some demo reads going on.
Yeah, that was so fast. We'll have to get the replay, hopefully. I want to see just how ballsy of a play that really was. Now Astralis look to claw back from a 4v5. 3 smokes, 3 flashbangs left for NIP. Magisk now has clear line of sight through A. Ooh, and he picks back up the headshot. That's going to deny Lecro any further info. Not going to be able to stop what is 3 members of Astralis running through this smoke. The spam damage does nothing. And the defenders for the A site, one's inside connector. He's now taken out of the round. 2 inside of Pop Dog, volleyed away. They can't get back into the mix. Magisk turned back around. Lecro, luckily, is able to manage, but still the damage done with the plant on top of it. 3 versus 2. And that's going to force the save. Yeah. I love Astralis' play. Because Plopsky runs up ladder, you said maybe there's some demo reads going on. Well, they transitioned themselves, Astralis, from that upper box halls all the way back around Ivy. They got away from the 2 players inside Pop Dog and took that A site from the opposite side. Yeah. Nothing could be done once Pop was mollied and smoked off. Astralis 14-11.
Yes. And this save is critical. That was a tough situation there for Plopsky. He comes away with it. They'll move into the next round. Yes. We've got the fire effects once again. This game is definitely not lost just yet. A really, really great round there from Magisk. Such a critical player, man. He's amazing. You know, he's the newest addition to the roster.
Just runs through Molly.
Yeah, he just takes that as a cue, I guess, and it's Glaive. So I don't even think throws the Molotov that gets all the smoke.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What is he doing?
All right, let's go. NIP back in with a buy. They muster together what they can afford. A FAMAS, a Scout, and an MP9. Which of these players has to shine? Because so far it's been neck and neck. Ninjas. The kill differential near non-existent. Uh-oh. Dangerous peek from Plopsky. And he's going to lose half of his health on that. There's so many bodies piled up outside of this B site. Bombs already being planted. A desperate rotation.
Yeah,
that could very well be called off.
They might. Electro. Oh, he gets a kill. It's 4-4. Lots of time left on the clock. Yeah, I thought there for a second.
Maybe.
Call the save, maybe, but
And maybe they should have.
We're back in that territory again.
Just when they had a hope.
And it's at the cost of 2 lives. You know, they had a chance there. Man, it was tough. Twist. He's like right behind the site. Goes back, peeks again, sees an entire boy band waiting for him at the bottom of the ramp. And then it puts him off. He starts re-peeking. You know, he's like, I need to get a kill. He gets really worried.
Whoa!
That's decent, yeah.
Following up on Twist's damage, Forrest topples 2. But so be it. I think Astralis, they'll trade those casualties for a 15th round any day.
Yeah, they're happy. That's a match point here for Astralis as we move into what could be the last round of the first half.
Of the first map.
Of the first map of the second day.
Of the winners, BO3. Upper bracket final, meaning whoever wins this one, of course, books that first spot in the finals. Not just any finals, Launders, but the global finals.
$350K for first place.
That is money. But they are playing with even less than they had in the last round. A single M4 for Rez. Upgraded pistols and tidbits of utility in the mix. And remember, Ninja's map choice. We move to Nuke after this. Forrest has no idea that Glaives is close. Goes to check the corner, and it costs him his life. Nobody here able to respond either. Twists down range at Pop Dog. 2 defenders towards the B site, and it seems like Astralis may just sink their teeth into A. Rez fades back towards site. Again, that only M4. Everybody's ready. Plopsky's hot on the flank. Rez does get one, but down he goes. Plopsky removed, and Astralis through and through. A 16-11 victory here on Train. They were tested.
They were tested.
NIP started to swing that back on their T side. 5 of the opening 6 rounds, all for Astralis. NIP composed themselves both at the end of the first half and also halfway through their CT side, but it's not enough, Mohan. They will give up that opening map.
Yeah, they've got a lot of reverence for Astralis. We saw it. Now they're thinking about Liquid as maybe a better matchup for them. This is the map pick was brave. I definitely still was thinking about the thought that maybe they could have played Overpass, but they look confident, they look good. A lot of those rested on a Razor's edge, and you could have seen a world where Nick would take it home, or Nip take it home, excuse me, but today was not that day.
Not that day. Or is it? Still 2 maps in this series to come your way. We move to Nuke up next.
For a lot of teams that have had the success that you've had historically, it's hard to keep it ongoing. You know, how do you keep that fire alive?
Here we are at the last Pro Series, Sao Paulo.
Of course he goes down to Vice, so powerful, an ace.
Team Liquid versus Astralis.
Decided to play the final here with an amazing crowd.
A stellar shot from Zepix, a 2-piece. Astralis continue to just outclass Liquid here. Nobody can touch these guys. They are not on another level. They are on another planet. Miami, it is a damn pleasure to be standing here amidst you. Astralis down to just Dupree, and FaZe could very realistically be putting them in the coffin.
The question mark coming into this event was who will meet Astralis in the grand final.
Everything was just not clicking, people misunderstanding each other.
They have been eliminated.
Spain, we love you!
Right now, Astralis is still called them the best team in the world.
He's ready for it, another one for the pre-time, the grand final! They are undefeated this year.
Okay,
this map.
Oh my God, there is no way they can pass this position.
Is this how it ends, Dan? Looking to collect the bomb. We've got Alexi beat by oil, and that's it.
It is time for Blast Copenhagen to kick off.
12,000 people all rooting for one team. No matter what happens today with Astralis, it's gonna be fun.
The experience walking in here, you kind of forget all the bad things.
Simple doesn't know what they're doing. They got it again. It's going down.
It's got the whole arena on their feet.
There it is. He's tossed them up into the air. For Copenhagen standoff winners, Astralis.
Proud.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-game here for the first map of today's series. And while there was mic'd up, Astralis, fantastic. Good lip reading, Pimp. What were they saying?
Good question. They're probably yelling that this is too easy. Come on, give us a fight. Something along those lines. No, but to be completely honest, NRP did give them a fight, right? It looked like Astralis, they were in full control after that first half. Got off to a very good start, but all of a sudden, NRP, they started to bite back. And first half ending 8-7, that was relatively close. And I was thinking to myself, all right, we got a competitive game.
Oh yeah, that was actually very competitive. Honestly, the way NIP fought back on that first half, because you have to remember, first of all, they lost a round, an impossible round to Dupree's Heroic in the T connector, killing 3, getting the bomb on the floor, too late to plan. That is the one first time they suffered. Then they lose a 5 versus 3, where NIP have full control of the entire map. Then it looks disjointed. They die 1 by 1. At this point, it's 8-1. You think that's it. Astralis, they will close this half 14-1. We're moving to the second map. But no, actually no. Based on some very great B hits, NIP, they fight back round after round. They make it 7-8. And then on the second half, they're here as well. But again, at the end of the day, it's Astralis winning it.
Yeah, it is Astralis who will eventually grind you down. And so because we saw, you guys just pointed it out, right? First half, things were looking up for NIP. They were starting to take the fight to them. I remember us at the very beginning when it was like, what, 5-1, 6-1 in favor of Astralis. You're just sitting here thinking, is this how the series is going to go?
Oh, no.
But then NIP shows some fight. What happened in the second half? Where did it turn south for NIP?
I think Astralis is just too good, you know, for NIP to handle. I think there was too many playmakers coming out from Astralis as well. We talked about Magic's boy coming into the game as well. On the CTC, he had a nice presence with the AWP, and I even had a conversation with Sonic a few days ago, you know, talking to him about Magic's boy. He does it all for this team, right? He's the entry fragger if he wants to be. He's the AWP player on the CT side on train if he wants to be. And he's just such a skilled player, you know. You saw him time and time again putting on pressure on the NIP defense by doing some great entry fragging, especially with the SG. And overall, I feel Astralis is a team that have so many different strings to play on. Then if you're not showing up as a unit, NIP in this case, you know, if you're not showing up all 5 players, you're not going to be able to shut it down. And I felt that's exactly what we saw on that T side coming out.
I agree, and there is one thing that we need to talk about when it comes to Astralis is they are the kings of the uncertainty. When a round is not clear, when we don't know what we are supposed to do, they will win these rounds.
What does this do too?
When it means that, you know, in some situations, let's just say a 3 versus 3, for example, there is not a clear path to victory. You have to think. There are many different possibilities you can play that round, and every individual has to make decisions. Do I push? Do I wait? What do I say to my teammate? How do I say that? In these uncertain rounds, Astralis will win 90% of them. That is what's so heartbreaking, because NIP, in some of these clutches, you felt like they had it. They had the position, but then a smoke comes in, the move from Dupree, he pulls back at the last second, plants the bomb. These rounds, back to back to back, Astralis, they win them almost all the time.
And just to elaborate on your question further, it comes down to what Forrest was saying here yesterday as well, the communication within the Astralis camp. They all seem to be in synergy. They all mutually understand the game, you know, equally well. So they all can find different solutions to winning the round. It's not like when you're seeing a 3 versus 3 and Glaive is dead, you know, it's not like it's always going to be Dupree that's going to take charge. It's every single player who has an idea, and they all listen to each other. They all understand each other, and they all communicate. Something that you can probably attest to this as well, right? You've been on teams before where there's always one guy who has the ideas. There's always one guy who tries to take the lead, you know, of a certain situation. Yeah. Whereas in Astralis, every single player has that capacity. Every single player can take lead in a situation, and every single player understands, you know, that certain player doing so. So the mutual understanding within in the Astralis camp, and the mutual communication coming out is just something that's unheard of.
And what's even worse is that Glaive, he has what I call the follow-up round theory. So the follow-up round theory is that when you finally win a round that is very complicated, you feel like your opponents, they had to think, maybe they're frustrated about that round. Well, you have that round that's coming up, that's a quick one. You're going to take them by surprise. And they did that run on that T side, right? You had this 3 versus 3 taking a long time. It's a drawn-out clutch. And then Astralis win it. The next round, they're in B after 9 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the follow-up round. It's something Existence used to do back then. And I know Glaive can do it. Whenever he feels like maybe you're tired, that was a round that really took a lot of energy for you, the next round, he's going to surprise you. And if you're thinking, maybe you're talking about the next round, I mean, you're talking about the previous round, oh, I think we should have done this. 3 seconds after, they're on your bomb site. That's it, they're planting.
Well, we actually have some insight here. Luckily enough, we were able to track down Zonic during the break, so we have a quick interview with him, thanks to Frankie.
Zonic's kindly let me chat to him for a minute between the maps. So, of course, we've got to talk about what happened in Train. That first half, it looked like it was going to be a stomp for Astralis, and then NIP managed to get some guns and make their way into the inner site. Why did the boys have trouble defending them?
Yeah, as you said, we got off to a good start and we played really well, and we're just living off momentum. And then they started playing really slow, and they exploited alley and inside really well and got some first kills here and there. And then, yeah, Economy just slipped up for us, and they came back. They played really well in the later parts of the first half.
And you won your T-side pistol, but then lost to a force buy in the next round, which I know the guys were probably not expecting. Then you called a timeout. What did you say to the team in that moment?
I mean, it's a hot topic nowadays with the crowd and the thing. Someone was shooting through the wall in Team Middle with the scout, and we could hear the crowd was like cheering because it was close to hitting Dupree, and then some of the guys got frustrated, but it's just, yeah, right now it's just part of the games as we don't have booths, and it was just about me talking about ignoring it and just focus on our own game because it was kind of frustrating at that time because, yeah, the guy on the CJ side could just hear that the crowd that he was hitting the shot. So it's yeah, as I said before, it's part of the game, and hopefully that will all be fixed in some way.
But you mentioned the crowd. You've got so many fans here. Are you quite surprised to hear them chanting for your players? They were all going mad for Device.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful crowd here. I love Bahrain. I love the Bahraini crowd. They have been kind of surprising me. Didn't know that esports was that big here, so it's definitely a positive experience.
I think it's catching on now, you guys here. Thank you so much, Sonic. Let's head back to the desk.
Fantastic. Thank you, Frankie. And there's a little bit of insight from Sonic. Where do you think he lands on the booth discussion that has been going on recently?
I mean, we're having such a nice talk. Do we really have
we really need to get into this?
We're having a good time. Everyone is enjoying themselves. Are we going to have this long, drawn-out conversation about booths or no booth?
Okay. I'll go ahead and cut that short.
We don't need those.
we don't need. Yeah, perfect. Good. We're on the same page. Now, are they on the right page for Nuke that's coming up next? That's the second map. That's where Astralis seemed to be a dominant team. NIP, they weren't able to clinch it on Train. How's it looking for Nuke?
There's been some occasions, right, where Astralis have looked a little bit shaken on Nuke, but that's in the past, I would say. You know,
it is.
There was a little bit of a period where it wasn't the strongest map. You know, they even said in certain interviews they didn't want to pick it, they didn't want to play it against anyone because they didn't feel comfortable. But as of late, they reintegrated that map into the map pool. So for NIP to go up against Astralis, who right now I would consider to be the best playing team on the map of Nuke, after being down 1-0, losing their own map pick in Train, that's going to be incredible tough. Astralis, especially on the CT side, is so strong, but what's the most strong thing about them is the T side. They constantly grind out 7 to 8 rounds, and that's going to be incredible tough for NIP to stop.
Yeah, that is the key one, right? Usually when we talk about Nuke, we would say that there is a dependency on a very good CT side. That's how we frame it. You want to win Nuke, you need to have many rounds on their CT sides. 10 rounds at least, 11, 12, fine. I don't feel that's the case for Astralis. That's how crazy it is. Even if they were to win only 7 or 8 rounds on their CT side, I'm sure they can bounce back and they will find solutions on the T side. We saw that versus Liquid, their ability to spot weaknesses and then abuse the Vendai, for example. That's what they did against Liquid, but they could do that in many different areas of the map. Now, I talked about a pattern in the pre-show. I said usually the first map is very close, but Astralis win it and then they absolutely destroy on their map. I'm afraid we are taking that route right now.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Pimp? As far as the T side, I mean, you make that point there. It's what we saw versus Liquid yesterday, grinding out the rounds on the T side. Astralis, they're a constant threat. And again, what I'm very grateful for here is that we have quite a few quick interviews with the coaches. And so we're getting this insight from the players, from the coaches on how they're adjusting. And so yesterday we got that information from Dupree. Astralis, they identify a weak spot on the defense. Glaive, 2 rounds later, is already calling. It's time to hit. So very quickly, do you think that's what's going to happen again?
I think so. And I think Glaive is going to be a vital part in this Astralis map. You know, he always on the CT side, he's being very aggressive towards the yard area. If he can close that down for the NIP boys and he can make sure they can't play their default, you know, towards outside, I think Astralis have won the game basically on that one single player doing a good job. So Glaive is going to be influential, and we're going to see Magic's boy have another great game, and that's going to be 2-0 for Astralis.
So there we have it. Quick work. We're going to get into the second map right away.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blast Global Finals here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. It has been a rather back and forth first map, Mohan. We had NIP with this out-of-nowhere resurgence. It looked like they were going to get dumpstered from the get-go on Train, their map choice, and in the end, while they did still lose, they made it competitive. There were rounds out of nowhere, and yet they still faltered, they still fell. So we fall onto the second map, that being Nuke, where I think it's safe to say the job gets more difficult.
It does, it does. Now I think, you know, when Liquid play Astralis on Nuke, I think they've got like a defeatist attitude about it. Like they don't feel like they can win, even though some of those maps are very close. There's like so many mistakes they feel like they maybe can't solve for whatever reason. Whereas I think NIP, they also have trouble on Nuke, but they play it a lot more, and they will play it. It's just that Astralis, as Pim pointed out, are the best team on Nuke right now. They had a bit of a hiccup in the beginning of the year, but I think that's off at this point. They are a solid team on this map. I don't know if anybody could really take them down consistently at this point, so we'll see. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Astralis 2-0, unless...
Fast plays into the A site, couple of flashbangs, couple of headshots. Rez doubling up with his USP, kind of puts this one into a halt, at least for the moment, but Zipex is close, and the other two Ts drop down vent. Oh no, mistimed reload is luckily traded back. Still, bomb's gonna be planted, and the man advantage belongs to that of NIP.
This map is defined by these lower takes device. Mid-round, he gets that. One, first kill, second and third are both spotted, but now he's in a 1v2.
Yeah, they know where he is. Twist gonna take that first fight, but it's a bit mismatched. They're not dueling at the same time. They're giving him separate 1v1s, and the bomb's planted for him. They get closer, but still no trade. Lekro has to go for the reload. Device only has his knife, and so it's still good night, Astralis. they'll lose to the defuse.
Yeah, he just pulled out the knife because he's like, that's the only chance I have to actually get this kill. It wasn't close enough. He did pick the right spot, but Lekro hits him on the way down, and that's it. A round in the bag for NIP, but it's a close call. A really sick upper hold, though, to start things off. I mean, the initial kill goes the way of the Astralis, but then Rez comes out with that 2K, and it's kind of a little bit of awkward fighting on both sides in the end. It should have been maybe an easier 2v1 for Ninjas, but they bring it home. They didn't win either pistol in that first map.
Right.
But again, it's going to be a very difficult map.
Popping out fence.
SG's already picked up. 2 SGs. They've got to pick 2 SGs and an AK off that plant. Spam through the vent into Lekro, all up and down his body. He is gone.
He is Swiss cheesed. And another hits the floor. Wow. 3 rifles off of that plant loaders.
3 very good ones, and they're all coming into they're all coming in at full force. That's nuts. The value of a plant right now is ludicrous.
This isn't your grandfather's CS.
Yeah.
You know, Forrest now out of his element. There are still 2 players up. Rez does some substantial damage.
This is more than a hefty hold. That's necessary. He wins that. I mean, he's caught off guard, but he wins it. But now it's just Rez alone on A. Device gonna run by him. Rez
went down.
Does he know? He heard
had
the
to have
steps,
heard
but
that.
maybe it was just too late. Now he can't even think about going back upstairs.
Oh, and they didn't even go lower.
Yeah, that's a big issue. He could have actually defended on the site. Device was the man to get information for the team to allow them to come here safely.
It's one of those moments when he watches this round back, he will be heartbroken. Rez could have done so much damage as he cuts off Device. I mean, Astralis, they were already in the process of doubling back from ramp room, so he really would have put that to a grinding halt. They wouldn't have been closer towards B.
Yeah, it just slips by. He was ready to kill, too. I mean, he got those. He had that really good first round. Looked already pretty good in that second. But, yeah, he's the one to take himself out of the fight with that rotation. Zipix on the hunt behind him. Rez aware, and will he be ready? Doesn't want to lose a fight to a Deagle. Not much gained by taking down a Deagle. And so it's pacifist mode for Rez.
Not a bad way for them to bounce back. We saw early Force Wars in the second half of Train. Back and forth, 3 or 4. That was that quick entry. I mean, he saw the spam shots coming through. Lekro was the first shots, and then a second follow-up through the smoke. Again, told to him by the frag. So
yeah,
NIP giving away 2 clues. Magisk solving the problem.
It's going to happen sometimes when you're the mini player. You're going to get spammed down at the beginning of the round. It sucks that it happened to 2 people. There's not a lot you can do about that. Maybe write that off. And there it is. The displacement Molotov.
Yeah, T-side molly to pop their own smoke, I believe.
Right, so not displacement. That'd be the wrong word. The counter to the Molotovs that come out from the CT side.
Micro's still inside of mini.
That's a shot. Oh, opportunity lost.
I wanted to point that out yesterday, right? It's like such a CT. We saw that emergence of Molotovs being thrown to block the wall of smoke by counter-terrorists to create gaps, but now you're starting to see T teams throw their own Molotov so that they know exactly where their smoke is being disrupted. It's like 5 Death Launders. I don't think my brain's big enough.
What's big enough?
Ouch. Not as painful as that Deagle damage. Device dropped to 28. Still no opening kill. Twist has to fall back towards CT spawn. Lekro hoping that somebody else offers up a body for damage done. Sound cue heard by Glaive, so he's going to peek the corner, knowing, and thanks to the flash from Dupree, it's a quick and swift entry.
They just go for the vent dive. This is the hard part. I mean, there's going to be countless vent dives in this match, and once the Astralis get lower, they're just so hard to stop. Yeah. There it is. Bomb goes down. Players continue to get dropped. Everyone's panicking at this point, and all of the CTs end up dying. It's only Twist. Back in spawn still, buying guns. Gonna drop one for an AK and even get caught off guard. Just like that, it's Forrest, who's a little bit worried of the fact that his teammate dies in mini, gets on top of the hut door, hopes they come upstairs, but it's Squeaky that gets abused so often from Astralis.
And that's all they had to do yesterday to dismantle Liquid on Nuke, was consistent vent drops, consistent B hits, and you see it here this time.
I think the really special part for Astralis is that even if they don't do the vent drop, they're really good at winning the Squeaky fight anyway. So they look for duels there for a lot of the rounds, and they also use it in their late mid rounds as well. So there's just so many reasons for them to be there, and even though the CTs know that, I think Astralis have found a point where even if it's information that's understood, it's still hard to stop, and that's why it's been so consistent for them. It's like no secret they're going to try the vent drop, but what we see is a manufacture away in every single round.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and Astralis will do as they please, especially in this round. Single P250. Lekro not yet able to get into the mix. Still, Astralis play it cautious, and you love to see it. Minimizing mistakes. But Bomb's still back by Spawn, so they'll just take their sight.
Yeah, just watch for the mini crunches. Comes out once again. Pistols have just found themselves stuck outside now, locked out of the house.
Like a kid past his curfew. Ooh, an attempt by Plopsky, but of course there's cover all over.
Yeah,
they've had this map control for a good 20 seconds before Bomb even gets here, so understandably it easily goes down.
It's not going to be as pretty as Train. You know, I mean, even when we watched, there's not a lot of teams that can put up a fight. Even when we watched Liquid versus Astralis, you're expecting Astralis to win on Nuke. But we will see why their Nuke is so masterful, and it's good that we see the T side first. You know, the most amount of rounds possible.
Oh, you gotta hit those.
So we can hopefully talk about what some adjustments as NIP can make. We see more mistakes getting made or more exploits that come. Now, we know that the attention from NIP is being drawn to Squeaky, and that's why they're getting killed sometimes. But is there a way for them to safely win their duels, or at least get a nade off, you know, before getting spammed down?
Something.
That's what we want to find out. So far, it doesn't seem like that's the case. But there is always hope, as long as there is a buy available. So, what will that buy be?
Curious to see just how aggressive NIP decide to get. They will buy in. There's the op. Twist has it early. There's the Molotov, again, meant to be met by a smoke, but ooh, okay.
This is a really, really rough buy for NIP. I mean, they got good guns, but they don't have any utility.
This time Molotov just meant to burn out any close corner being held, so they were hoping that somebody would play aggressive red box here, and nobody does. Gives Glaive the space he needs to play. Able to slip out immediately, straight down to the B site. Bomb carrier is Dupree, who then also walks out Squeaky through the smoke with another teammate. And again, this lower site.
Oh my God, they don't even know. Yeah, they can hold on to Uber if they want to, but it's not going to do much. Smoke for the cross. We see that again. Twist at least gets a kill, so that's something. Op still in hand, no utility as we see in this 3v3. Single flash here on Plopsky, if that counts for anything. No impact grenades, no Molotovs to shoot people out of position. Twist will just hold on to this as long as he can. It's already feels like a save, but Lekro just waited long enough for a kill. But how do they proceed forward is the issue. Oh, that could have been it.
Oh, close player, Glaive.
Whoa, wait
Caught off guard, 7 seconds on this defuse. Molly's gonna hit.
They don't have any utility.
Yep, that's the problem. Can't put out the smoke, or can't put it out with a smoke. And so the whole show goes up in smoke and explosions. B site blown apart. But good attempt at a last-minute run-in. You did see Astralis kind of caught off guard by that scramble from Nip. If only there was a kit or a smoke to stick it through.
It looks like they knew they had that one locked up by the way they were playing it, taking a couple extra risks. But yeah, this Molotov, I mean, there's just no chance. And he knows he has to, like, the only chance he'll have of winning is if he can get the plant, or if he can get the defuse off right then and there, but he can't. Twist will take the op into the next round. They've also got Plopsky on the M4. We've ironically got more utility in this round than the last, so that's something. And op can make a difference. So we'll consider this a strong eco. What looks like a force up, but is a save.
And another immediate vent drop.
That's it. They've got to stop this problem. They've got an infestation.
Nasty rats. ready for Rez. Timing helps out somewhat. Glaive comes back in. Now there's 2 players here, though. He may not expect the second. Still, now he's seen it. Molotov off the stairs, creating comfort for Dupree, who's already on the site, ready to flush him out. Unfortunately for Twist, we said it's, strong eco in terms of the M4 and that op-in play, but they never saw any play. It was just the pistols tested with such a rapid vent drop yet again.
It's hard enough when you lose one player on the CT side on Nuke where the communication gets stressed so much because now people have to pick up more than one spot. But when you lose 2, I mean, that's when it gets really hairy. They've got basically nothing covered. They're all taking tons of risks all the time, checking on outside, checking on ramp flank, checking on big flank. And as time ticks down, Astralis are just sitting there waiting in the 5v3, looking for someone to make a mistake. It's really ninjas who are just set up to lose as every second goes by. Forrest in his spot, perched above the doorway, and will even get cleared somehow. No man is safe. Astralis win another round, and will do it with the bomb exploding once again.
They're coming for the op to Twist. He's gonna have to hit this first one and then hope Plopsky can just take the bullets. Oh, but it's traded immediately. Yes, he'll be okay. Astralis find themselves on fire. They lose the pistol launders. It's looking good. We said, there we have it. Nip finally. They win a pistol. And it surmounts to absolutely nothing.
It is fair to say that in that second round, it's hard to even grant the CTs an advantage when the plant goes down and you can get 2 SGs and an AK.
Yep.
Like especially on the CT side, you need more even strength because you don't know what choke point they're going to hit. So if you have a pistol in one place, that's significantly weaker. On the T side, you get the 2 entries for the guys in front, and then the other guys can pick up guns. Like pistols might not even play a factor, even if there's only 2. Smokes outside once again. Force is the one who's been put to the test on this map. Upstairs in mini. Oh, he's going to see the shadow. Glaive is trying to attack on that. Force will defend.
Dupree gets sidelined. Blindsided by Electro. Magis, maybe, magically gets himself into the A site from Hut. Molotov's off heaven. And as now a teammate arrives, he can confidently put down bomb, but Plopsky could slip into this. It is just the 2 remaining members of Astralis on A. Device goes ahead and tries to push into mini. So Magis, who got this round started, now has to close it on his own. He plays to the back of the site. A single flash on his belt. Twist gets it done. Retaken by Mini as Plopsky comes out for the defuse. Still, that's a round that could have gotten them nothing. A bomb plant and a couple casualties on the A site is what Astralis will take away happily.
You know what Astralis could have tried that round?
What?
A little vent dive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring that back.
I hear they do that time to time. Oof.
I don't think it's a coincidence the first round they go up is the first round they lose, like pretty drastically. They try to attack Mini through outside first as opposed to any pressure through Squeaky or an early sneak into lower and then play out that longer round, which has been working so well for them. But, I mean, if you're Astralis, you're like, well, eventually they're going to have a response. Device talked about this. He's like, do you stop what's working? Because if everything's working, like, why would you change all that stuff and shoot yourself in the foot? And in that situation, maybe he did second guess it. Maybe they did change something when they didn't need to.
Squeaky's open, Forrest able to manage the first one, but it's the mini peek from Glaive that disrupts the site this time. Twist with cover to the blue box, and then they don't go down. They stay high and alive on A. Man advantage in their favor this time. Post plant now unfolding. Plopsky traded after just 1, and Twist with an op on the retake is Molotov'd off. A flashbang follows suit. Dupree dodges the op shot, and Astralis, just like that, will take a 6-2 lead.
Wow. And they innovate from that point of just going upstairs again. They do it and make it look like it's going to be a vent dive, jump through the smoke, and you got to love how annoying that looks. The way that they come out, one player jumping to the right, one player coming out in the front, making it as difficult as possible to CTs to figure out which target is going to commit to the duel. And all the while, you've got the sneak in through Mini, and then the solid post plant to round it out. Really nice round from Astralis.
I'm really liking the sequence of grenades outdoors. The 2 smokes to get them behind Mini, the Molotov behind red box that then erects the wall to cross. And they're consistently throwing this over and over, but it's a slight gap for Twist to work with. He's seen some feet, and whether he likes them or not, he can't stop them. They get down to the B site already. Not needed. Vent Plopsky into control. Magic's on high health, down. Dupree low. 9 HP to the 1, and there he is, removed by Plopsky. 2 kills to his name. As the bomb remains on the back of Glaive, he gives himself a chance as he takes down Forest. They've lost their member upstairs. Lekro, 3 versus 2 established as the retake's on.
Yeah. Device likes this fight early. It's an op first up the bat. Lekro makes this a 1v3. We've seen Device here before. He couldn't pull it off last time. Came down to the wire. First kill comes out easy, and he snuck into a better spot. Raz as he wins the duel. SG spray is good. Headshots in. 1v1, and he goes down. We've got Steph Curry from inside the site.
Lekro not only getting that kill on the lurker upstairs, that lurker who versus Liquid yesterday did so much to win these late rounds. He gets the best of him, comes downstairs, and as you said, dunks him. Excellently done. Big play here from Plopsky.
I think that's what they needed. Even this round, they had the early rotations to lower. They tried to get ahead of it and stop focusing on the reactions because the reactions weren't working out. Every time Astralis were getting down lower, they were doing it without Astralis giving them any information. So they were like, screw it, let's try to get ahead of this matter. Hopefully they do lower this time. It ends up being correct, and now they might see it again. However, it's actually going to be an upstairs turn.
Rez able to just get one. Lekro will do the exact same, so luckily Magisk trades, but it's the flames of Zipex that'll cut off Plopsky. Man advantage for Astralis. Device alive by a thread.
God, it feels so good to win a round like this if you're on T. Fast out Squeaky once again into upstairs. Just when NIP thought they had started to find it or figure something out.
Just balls to the walls, out Squeaky Dort. Twist wary of a lobby after plant. He's correct in assuming so. Now they know there's got to be some presence on the site. Ops swap out to the AK, huge HP advantage, and it all falls to Device. He's had 16 health since this retake started, and a well-timed peek from both sides will get Ninjas onto their 4th. A 2-round deficit still, but at least a CT side that's starting to come to life.
Yeah, and they pull off the retake, which is nice. You know, bomb gets planted once again. They win the pistol round retake after the bomb plant. They get one upstairs finally. That's a notch on their belt. That's going to be good for them moving forward. And so smartly played from Twist, just understanding where all the threats could potentially be. Lekro covering the thought there might be 2 back site. Super smart stuff.
Such a crucial kill as well for Twist to clear out lobby. You know, and like they didn't want to push that retake until they had a 2v2, until they were confident that they were at least isolating one more player on site. There could have been a second over towards Hut. There could have been a second to trade Twist. A flank through Squeaky was possible, but nope. Once they unearthed the one in lobby, it was just about getting on that bomb site. 2 more T's fall, and Astralis find themselves in an awkward spot. They'll have a buy coming in, still good enough, but they bottom out the bank accounts to afford it.
The number's kind of interesting because they reached a point in the half where they won so many rounds easily with those lower takes, and now they've started trying to abuse upper, and it's that mixed results. But there's so many rounds left, they could go back to what worked before, and it's still on Ninjas to figure that out. We don't know if they can. They are going to cross into lower just right away. No shot out for Twist. Oh, but Lekro finds a kill. How does he do that?
Already in position. Was ready to cut off Astralis. He's the bomb carrier too, but Lekro, caught throwing nades. Zipex displays great timing. Cuts off 2, and he even gets another. Plopsky, who was the last line of defense down towards this B site, denied. Zip, the mastermind, with all frags in this round.
And he's playing that key position. He's the vent drop to couple with the outside take. You know, that was a focus on Secret. It wasn't a focus on Zipex at first. But once they lose Glaive, he has to come into the fold, and he gets 3.
I think this is a good chance. I want to know, what do you think of this like super heavy investment on the outer execute? We're watching Astralis use 4 smokes and a Molotov almost every single round.
Yeah.
And sometimes using it to wrap fast mini, sometimes using it in this round to get down Secret early.
I'm glad you asked, Connor. I think honestly, the fact that the meta has driven it to a point where now you have to use the smokes or the Molotovs with the smokes, the $700 smokes to get crosses outside, just goes to show you how valuable those smokes are. And if you think about it, the opportunity cost is even greater if you don't throw the Molotovs on the hope that they don't throw their Molotovs to displace your smokes. That sounded confusing, but that was correct. You know, if they throw their mollies and it's not yours, then your smokes are going to land in the wrong spot. And that means you lose the whole round. If you throw 3 smokes, you don't even have the ability to smoke a wall once again, even if everybody bought one. So I think the key point is just that it just guarantees it. You only have to throw 1 set in the round. And the other thing is that as long as those nades or those smokes land properly, you don't have to use them for them to be useful, right?
Sure.
So even if you throw those smokes and you know they're going to be ready for the cross outside and spam you and nade you down, that might have been a fake round, right? So it's just great, and it's nice for the T's to be able to know they can rely on it, and whether or not they want to use it.
They have this variation. This is a smoke setup that only requires 3. They're not using double smokes to ensure they can cross to the back of Mini at the base of Silo. We've seen that as well. So they'll hold 2 smokes. Curious to see if they have a plan for that one.
Get it across. Twist job's so difficult, you know? Like, he's got to take some blind shots. He's got to look at the crack in the smoke. Hopefully he spots a foot. Hopefully the guy doesn't jump over it. But there's only so much information he can have and only so much communication that he can give to his teammates, you know, with confidence. But again, they have the early rotate secret. They're focusing on it. It is Astralis to move back into the game plan of going lower after those 3 upper hits. Again, of mixed results. But now that Astralis see that there is an adjustment from Nip, they respond with their own. Wrapping towards heaven this time. Twist. Is he going to read it or is he going to die?
Oh, had a shot there, but Glaive a bit too quick. Swings far and wide. Sends him packing. Forest with 1 off of the top of Hut. Rez's Mag 7 won't be good at dueling versus Mini, so he has to wait for them to get into the site. Flopsky finds timing, but he doesn't take the kill, and it's all left on the shotgun. The buckshot stops Bomb. 20 seconds, and a smoke grenade gives him a chance to play, but this is such a tricky position. Once he peeks that door, he's dead. Dupree gets him from above, and that's Astralis to take 8 already on this T side.
That was really important in Astralis' game plan because they win the round, even though it was the intent to go lower. Once they saw the adjustment for Nip, they turned it back to upstairs where they had mixed results and come away with a clean round. It's a round where Twist is so important, and he actually does make a rotation back into Hell, where he came from, and you could see the frustration on his face because he knows how important that kill is. He knows he missed, which is another thing. But I think more than that, if he got into his spot a second or 2 earlier, he probably would have gotten that kill without having to flick in the first place. And that's the roughest part of all. But this smooths it out a bit, I guess. You got Plopsky and Rez to combine a couple of pistol kills. Plopsky takes some damage falling back, but it's already 5v3 for NIP.
See how fast Astralis want to play what's left of this. They've got Glaive down secret stairs, and they'll pinch the B site with doubling up on ramp. Lekro's Deagle spotted, Plopsky predicted. And Glaive putting ninjas in a predicament. Lekro's door swung wide, but that's 3 Ts on the B site. And now they have the post plant with the weapon advantage. Twist has gotten his hands on the Krieg. Lekro softened up, and oh wow, that pops only 1 of the 2 doors. So Magis unsuspectingly peeks into it, clears him, and follows through with another kill as this retake attempt is cut down. 9 rounds now for Astralis.
You gotta love Magis looking out for his boy there. Opening the door when he closed it, just to make it seem like he was gonna separate a fight. So kawaii. Oh my god.
Later, loser.
Jesus. That's quite a shot. I mean, that's just a few pixels off in the distance.
You think if you're jumping through the sky, you've got a good chance at getting by the 1 bullet Rez shoots.
Yeah, there's no air armor.
But great aim tracking.
Outside presence again. Device moving up quickly. SG kill comes right into his lying arms. Forest with the response, however. Again, he's had a tough time. He's had to deal with Mini. He's played 4 Hut, 4 Squeaky, and 4 outside. Fortunately, that's just not enough manpower to deal with all those issues. Rez helps out though. Wow, super clean, man.
Long distance headshot. Trying to close this half with a couple more rounds, maybe. Do not want to give up double digits to this T side.
Literally 4 bullets there. Dupree gets caught off. This Kind of strengthening of the hell area is helping out so much. Xyp9x now in a 1v2. Was 1v3.
If you're Nip, you're scared. Forrest talked about it in his interview yesterday. Despite his years of experience, he still gets the shakes. He still gets the nerves. But speaking of nerves, Rez just holds that line, anticipates the peak, and shuts down the 1v3 clutch attempt. So Nip will at least get a 5th on the defense with one more round to play.
Yeah, these guys are late bloomers, though. You know, like, the adaptations come, they just come too late. We saw on the last map, we're seeing it here. Nuke even less favored, but even more reason why you can't start slow. So unfortunately for them, they can look at a maximum potential of 6 rounds in this half and then look to try to manufacture the most amazing T-side we've ever seen, because the Astralis are pretty even strength on both sides. It's a good buy now, however. There is a chance for that to happen at least. Flash to assist with the outside take once again. They're skipping indoors. Forrest gets the kill from Heaven. Lekr0 will come in to support. He gets mowed down. 3 players gone for Nip.
Looking like there was a chance to cull that T-hit. However, now it's all on the flank. Now Rez will most certainly get Glaive. Not expecting, but unfortunately that's information gained from Astralis. They'll trade that one death because it tells them everybody that remains for Ninjas is coming in from the lobby. So no surprise, they shut this down in the post plant. 10 rounds to the T side of Astralis. They already lead by 1 map, and this, the harder half of their map choice, is already looking good. So if I'm NIP, I'm a bit discouraged by the outcome of this first half, but we'll see if they have the resolution to come back for it, folks. We'll be back after the break. Back, ladies and gentlemen, to what could be the last half of this series. Astralis looking to book themselves into the grand finals here in Bahrain. And I mean, if you're Nip, that's a tough one to swallow. 10 T rounds given over to Astralis, which, I mean, is just possibly way too much to handle.
Possibly way too much to handle. There's definitely situations where Astralis can get way more T rounds on Nuke versus your team, whichever team you'd like to be in the CS:GO roster list of today. There's pretty much it's pretty much expected some of the time that it's this bad. Now, moving into the second half, it's just that we don't know how well Nip will be able to read the CT side of Astralis, and again, they're pretty even strength in both halves. So it could be a quick map. It may not be. We know at least Nip won the first pistol, but they immediately lost the second round. They lost the second round, so it almost didn't mean anything.
And no pistol wins on the first map of this series either. So currently 1 for 3 in the pistol rounds. The Ninjas hoping that they can get this one early. If they too are going to have a dominant T side, it's got to start strong and it's got to start early. Utility for Rez. 4 members of NIP moving outside. Device, he's going to get pinched inside of Mini if they decide to wrap this A site. But he spams the smoke for a while and then opts to head downstairs. Rez, ooh, give it a chance to cut players off. Device just hopping in the smoke. I said he'd go down, but he's now stuck in vent, so the rotation towards B is delayed, except for Zipex. And Twist, who hops into the site, offsets the crosshair. Glaive, unable to skewer anybody else, so I feel like NIP maybe get away with more than they should so far. A bomb plant and a 4v3 with HP advantage as well. Decon swung open, and Wopski denies Magisk a follow-up kill. Astralis,
more than a handful of awkward duels.
Kind of stuttered in this last
pistol. Bit strange, yes, a bit strange. Maybe they want to make it a long game. I don't know, but that's the nature of pistol rounds for sure. We see that come into effect. A very classic round there for NIP. A simple fake, a one-man fake, one utility belt in use in the Squeaky. With Rez, smoke out of Squeaky, a flash out to make it seem like they're vent dropping. They attract all the flies to the light, and then he tries to do as much damage as possible. Allows Device to live a little bit longer than he should have lived as well. So the flubs go both ways, and ultimately, NIP's distraction was enough. The cross comes outside, the bomb goes down lower, and it's a pretty simple post plant from there.
It's that door swing. Twist literally just space, hopefully not space barring, jumping all the way into the middle of the site. Zipex couldn't kill him swiftly enough to follow suit with another kill. So Astralis still hoping to do what they did in the first half and bounce back with the second round after losing Pistol, double Scout, MP9, and a couple of dirty Deagles.
Yeah. Versus the that's a great nade. How many times we said that with Astralis? But yeah, we know how many times. We know how NIP play their D side, where they take kind of play it slowly a little bit. Crossing without that smoke is a bit risky. These scouts are going to be the most valuable right now. A great nade on top of a great nade in the same spot. Magisk might have an easy shot. Great Deagle kill for him. And the numbers have been whittled down already.
Astralis do what they please. That first grenade is why Device only needed 1 scout shot to get the 5v4. Magisk pushes the kill one further. There's a clean one from Zipex right through the window. The glass shattered just like the hopes of NIP in this round. They win Pistol. We said they needed a strong and convincing start on the second half from the get-go, and they get nothing more. Get gone as Astralis take 11.
In terms of confidence, you'd rather win that round as opposed to Pistol anyway. Yeah, so that's rough. That's rough.
That's a delay.
Listen.
Clap.
Yeah.
That'll get it. That'll get the hopes high.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he had to think about that. It's like, can I reasonably get everyone excited at this point? That's, yeah. But when they cross outside, they do it light. You know, they don't throw all their smokes. They give room to take duels. They actually don't have guns that are even that great against scouts in some sense. Like, they're just rifles from very, very far away.
Sure.
So now they knew what risk they ran.
Relegated to the armored Deeds. Not even any utilities for them to play with either. Still, they'll go heavy numbers early outside. 3 of the ninjas trying to play around the corner of Mini. Dupree's up close with the MP9. He could just milk this cash cow. There's one. And he spots the second, but a reload needed. Forrest hoping for that headshot, but it's another casualty elsewhere for NIP. Ramp room denied. Twist, 100 health to Forrest's 11. Oh, there we go. He kicks the door open and decides to push through it, upgrading into the Galil.
We can say that now. Most of the time past.
Flying down to the B site where Dupree has tucked himself into Old Toxic. But Twist, with no need to commit, has 45 seconds on the clock.
Force with low HP could be used as good bait at best. Problem is he has the bomb. Half a minute left. Slow cross outside. Might come down to timing. Depends on what Glaive wants to do. What's his itinerary right now?
On 11 health, I feel like there's no way he gets away with a cross towards Secret, so maybe they have to pinch this A site. And if Twist comes in from Squeaky Door, that it will be bodies side by side.
He's got to take this duel in heaven for Forrest. But it's a flank, and yeah, that's going to be it. One step ahead once again. Yeah. There's that moment where it's at 30 seconds where Glaive is like, I can spot the cross outside, but can they get outside to lower anyways? Is there a point of me holding this? I don't know if they knew exactly that the bomb was in spawn or somewhere in that area, but I think in Glaive's mind, a high likelihood that it's upper at this point in the round. And if not, I'm moving close to maybe event rotation as opposed to being in heaven and having to go through secret, which is much farther away. 12-6 as we maybe round out this series. An eco round again here for NIP. Not a lot to work with. No utility to support. Straw sometimes go somewhat aggressive on rounds like this.
Zipex at bat. 5 balls present themselves. And it's nearly a home run. 3 and almost the 4th. Rez 4 HP as he gets his hands on the M4 and never even has a chance to finish his reload. Easy anti-eco.
Yeah. And again, he's had some spotty performances recently. So that was a nice sprites at eco, but it minimizes losses. Is the main take home. Simple stuff. We'll see it from the back. All the red.
Oh, the red mist. Doesn't even crack a sweat.
Yeah.
All too easy. I feel like Astralis, they're in their comfort zone at this point. I mean, after a 10-round T-side, how do you not feel confident switching over? Winning, again, the Force after pistol.
Just try to compare, what we saw from Astralis on the T-side versus what we're seeing now. Small focus outside, but smokes don't go down efficiently. Nothing's interrupted. Device on the cross is a little late. 2 players follow behind Plopsky. Will they get caught? Oh, doesn't take the shot. Half blind, but it's kind of an after image flash.
See, and obviously the beauty of
Blade's gonna hear that.
Astralis' smoke setup is that angle being held by Device can't even gather info. They know that ninjas have presence behind those outer smokes. They know that Secret is in contention. So Magisk justifies it as he moves over towards Decon. He's gonna hold this cross. Plopsky first to challenge. Slight bit of damage. He sees a second body, so he knows he's outnumbered, but he is not outskilled. It may be Forest on the other side.
Give him the fight. Oh, Magisk comes back and gets clapped back. Forest, low HP, but man advantage here for Nip. Could be a pivotal kill. We'll find out if it is consequential. Twist is still working upstairs while his teammates, comrades, are lower. Lekro moves into heaven, and now, do they have a pincer move on the A site?
Very well could.
Whoa, 15 seconds. They've got to make a choice.
Astralis trying to get themselves into hut. That's going to give them some post-plant leverage if they need it. But the bomb is down here on B. Rez gets the plant.
Wow, that's actually a really nicely done fake. I mean, I thought they were hightailing it, but it's actually, yeah, the CTs are going to save off of that.
Nice
they pulled
done.
all of the rotates. Yeah, that was awesome. They did bring it down to the wire, but they successfully pulled every single person out of B. That's awesome.
4 seconds to spare on that play.
Right.
4 lives to spare for Astralis.
Certainly part of the strategy is for it to get down to that low, because that's when you make your final committal rotate. So if you decide to leave B when there's less than 8 seconds left, then you're out. You're out. You know what I mean? You can't come back in without knowing that somebody's going to be holding your angle on ramp or in control or whatever. So a nice a spot of brilliance, a silver lining for the T side so far. That was a cool play.
It's not the first good mid round either from NIP.
Like in general.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sirius has had some. I feel like it's just whether or not they can get to those points without being at too much of a disadvantage. I mean, even on Train, we talked about a closer scoreline, but they were winning 4 versus 5s. Again, initial advantage for Astralis is something they've had to deal with since the start of this series.
Takes some ingenuity to pull off those mid rounds, but let's see if we can get more of that. Lekro's also come through the vent dive. This is the form we like to see.
It's like 4 incendiaries there on A site.
It's a great Zipex impression so far. No damage, lots of progress. Door is spotted wide open. Lekro, will he peer into the eyes of an Opper?
Thing is, Glaive's got a great position to cut off the rest of this. That's a CT-sided smoke.
Wow.
Glaive, I mean, he's in a playmaker position. just annihilates Twist from beneath and then slips into the smoke, but that's where Forest catches him. And Lekro, that anchor that they had on the B site from the very beginning, that fast vent drop is taken back. And Magisk at bat, dropped by Plopsky. Zipex, now knowing that he's alone for the moment, is going to find himself back into the site as Dupree flirts with the idea of coming from vent. And if Zipex just closes this,
look at this,
or pushes through, he could find Back's turn. Plopsky not ready at all. And now, what remains of Nip has to come in from the double doors. Zipex can't manage, and Dupree is tasked to clutch. He's got to go the long way towards ramp.
Yes, yeah, and he's going to try to go for it because he's already here. He's got a smoke and a flash. Player spotted back sight. Shots are dropped. He doesn't know where the second man is. He could take his best guess. But it's Rez just waiting for him to come over top of this cliff, this headshot angle, where he should then get blasted away. There's no need to peek at this point.
Don't do it.
Oh, that could have been a kill. Forest. He takes some damage. He could have gotten taken out, but instead wins the duel with the SG. Ops drop. That was a good attempt. But I actually think it was really sick the way that Zipex played that. You know, he jumped up on the box as if he was going to get to that standard spot that everyone goes, the back of the site. Instead, he becomes a bit more proactive, takes a risk, pushes into decon after knowing someone was there, finds a kill, and then puts himself in a good spot to catch two people coming out of control. That was like super sick. He just didn't get that second kill. I think that could have made a huge difference.
Yeah, most certainly would have.
And this is also huge, yeah. So, as you pointed out, Glaive doesn't throw the smoke for himself. It's his teammate to toss it on top of a Molotov and allowed him to get a free kill. He ends up pushing through the smoke when he could have played it passively if he wanted to.
Fallen back after the first.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, 5-head play if he gets the 2 kills as he pushes through the smoke, but
Forest catches him just by a millisecond.
Right, and a big round from him in general.
If Forest doesn't see his knee slip into the smoke, then Glaive could have gotten them all.
There's a lot of substance here. I mean, I definitely was writing off Nip early on in this half, but once again, they proved to just start slow and then start to pick things up. T-side's looking a whole lot smarter now. Great start here. Zipex gets leg shotted by the op. And what's the plan of action? 2 ramp this time for Astralis. Zipex going to get boosted up, low HP. Normally the man to drop ramp. Now he's got the support of the op. Are they mollying for the threat of device potentially to peek out of secret? I think that's what they're looking for, but it's been Glaive to just kind of creatively play this with just a rifle.
I like this deeper wall of smokes, gives him a chance to peek blue. They opt to go double garage, but Device robs 2 frags back.
Big
A
shot.
follow-up onto Twist, and Plopsky, well, he's over there with bomb. Device should have seen it, seeing as he did kill the first carrier. But now there's a chance here. Plopsky, he's got 2 CTs distracted. Device very much more focused on the cross than anything else.
They're communicating.
They're learning. Oh, a third. Come on, Device. Give us the ace. Plopsky's still outside. Rez elsewhere on the map, cut down by Zipex. Plopsky's about to get checked. Ooh, no. But he should have just seen Device's shoulder. Not even gonna matter. That op in the hands of Device. The op that we questioned on train. He was missing many shots until now.
Yeah, and those were not like
4 for 4.
They weren't super difficult shots, but yeah, 4 for 4, and they were a very long distance, Like, even if you flick a bit off, you don't get that kill on Forest. Amazing stuff here from Device. Covers Glaive perfectly. They just play that annoying tandem role where he's like, I'm behind box, you hold my left or you hold my right, I'll peek this for you. Takes contact, Device cleans up that kill. They have everything covered.
He alternates the kill from door to window peek, but we won't have a chance to talk about last round because it's such a fast clash being set by Nip. They take huge amounts of damage off of the utility, and Dupree, 2, and maybe 3. A USP for victory as Astralis take 15.
Can we just talk about the rhyme scheme there? I know you weren't sitting on that, but...
Man, he's so sick. He is having such a good tournament so far here in Bahrain. And he talked about it yesterday. They asked, like, what are your guys' thoughts? What are you looking to accomplish here at the Global Finals? He said, I just want to go home. This is the last event of the year. We're going to take it map by map and see what happens. Well, this guy is closing it out with a performance and a half.
That's a round to remember. Oh my god.
Killer. I mean, Nip, at this point, you're kind of playing versus a caged animal. They're running out of chances. They give away map and match point. 7 chances.
We saw Astralis go for many of those squeaky busts to upstairs. Maybe 4 out of the 15 rounds. Half of the rifle rounds, I would say, just to put that in context. Like a lot of the rounds, they decided to focus on upstairs, especially in the middle of the first half. Ninjas try that, but we see the difference. Astralis try basically the exact same strat. Ninjas try the exact same strat, but they take almost 150 damage run through that smoke and squeaky.
Good point.
It's the spam damage, the nade damage, more well timed. Astralis just stay composed when there's so much chaos.
Crowd rallying what could be the final round of the series, again locking themselves into the finals. Astralis, who only won a single blast event all year long, still show up here on the final stage, 16-8, dismantling NIP on their very own map pick and then doing it again here on Nuke, this time with conviction, Mohan.
Yes. And thank you guys. You guys are really awesome. I'm loving the noise you guys are making. Really good stuff. That's an amazing win here for Astralis. A good first series. And it's the 2-0. It's the 2-0.
I feel like Astralis talked about it as well. The hospitality here in Bahrain has been awesome. A first series done, but there is still more Counter-Strike coming your way. Don't go too far, guys. We'll be back with that second series after the break.
Kan I booste mig højt?
Ja, jeg booster dig. Ja.
Kommer noget nu af Syb 1 attacket. Dyb under høj, de ikke under høj.
Jeg er en center.
En bag T-rød.
Det kan være Bamsen, hvis han er helt syg.
Ja,
det kan også være Ramp.
Stadig en attack. Jeg har den.
Pas på gater.
Sidste attacket, Yard.
Nice.
Jeg er med høj, Syber. Enten går en center, eller skal en gate.
Ja, kan også godt gå center. Ja, han er der. Hvor lang?
Ja. Floor. Eller 2 mand til side, ja. En henser. Hense. Til side. 1 HP. Nej, hvad?
Det ser ved Heinz.
Hey, hvor er I syge, Peter.
I think Miggis' reaction says it all.
Yeah, sure does.
Pimp, as our resident Dane on the desk, can you give us a little bit of a live translation there, Astralis comms?
Yeah, well, we talked about the communication being, so fluent and always so precise, and I think this was a great example. Obviously, you'd have to be Danish in order to fully understand, but basically what happens here is the device is dead in this scenario, right? But he's actually the guy communicating the most, so he's trying to basically facilitate his teammates with the communication, letting them know what could happen and what may happen. He's not necessarily sure in what he's saying, right? But he's constantly letting them know that this is a possibility, so be aware. And then obviously you hear Magic Boy, you hear Glaive, you hear them all communicate in that situation. But it's a great example of, great communication where you constantly basically warn your teammates about what could potentially happen here, what should you be aware of, and he does that while he's dead. So he's still a vital part of this round, despite not being alive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's something that we used to do, whoever was dead, especially on Nuke. I think because of the verticality of the map and how complex it can be, whoever is dead has the overview of everyone's position, and he can say, listen, as you say, this is a problem. There's a timing here. Watch out behind you. Especially on Nuke, I think it's needed. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they do on different maps as well. I mean, whoever is dead has the bird's eye view. He realizes this is a weakness, that they can come in your back, or you're not covering this. So obviously, the challenge in that is not spamming the communication. I think that's something they can do. We saw there was no spam, but if you did and you see more, you need to let your teammates know.
After a couple of years of listening to Overwatch League comms.
Oh my god, this is so hectic and frantic. It's terrible.
And you try to listen to it, you're like, nope, can't do it. That's not comms. That's not comms. Then you listen to these, and then you wonder why they are the best, in the sense that the comms are so clean. One word, that does it. Easy peasy. Energy's way down here. Everybody's keeping it cool and
used
focused.
to be NIP. You remember when NIP had all these men? You'd sit behind them on the event and they'd almost not speak. It was like so many codes and shared words. They knew what was happening. It was very quiet. It's the same feeling I have here.
Yeah, and it's on a high level, right? I just want to point that out for the players at home. Normally, you'd say the communication is always speaking about, what is happening on the map right here. What have you seen? If you see two guys go towards Yard, then you see two guys towards Yard, right? But the sense and the level of this communication is the fact that the device constantly alerts his teammates about what potentially could be happening here. What should you be aware of? He's not seeing anything that the other guys aren't seeing. He's just making sure that they're all aware that this is a possibility, so they don't get surprised. And sometimes when you have an aim duel, it's down to the to the very smallest margin, right? So the fact that you're just a little bit aware that this could be a possibility may give you the edge in set aim duel, right? So it's communication, but it's at a very high level.
Now, last time we were here, we were able to touch a little bit on this hive mentality that Astralis have, and there are teams in the past who have had that. Like you say, NIP, Fnatic was another crazy one. Any 3v3 situation, and they were hardly even talking. They knew exactly what they were doing at all times. Feels like we're getting a little bit of this now from Astralis as well, where I wanted to say, is this the new version of the hive mind? Has it arrived? And will there be any resources left after it's done? Because when Tyranids show up,
I think in many desks, in many different events, in many different times, we have said that Astralis have elevated the level of Counter-Strike in general. They have optimized the way a team works, the team prepares strategically, the details they put into the game. They took everything to the next level. So yes, you talk about hive mind. I believe Astralis have that, and I think it comes down to two dimensions. The first one is preparation. Obviously, the more you prepare, the less you need to talk, because these are plans and patterns you have prepared, and then it's about understanding and sharing your philosophy. And I think they do, which means they don't have to talk so much.
Simple as it is, right? Everyone is reading the same book, so to speak. Glaive wrote the manuscript, and every single player is just following up and being part of that, book. So it's so important in Counter-Strike that you all align together. The fact that you all understand what is the plan, how do we react in a certain situation, and how do we get out of a tough spot. And I think Astralis have mastered that. The communication, the awareness, and basically just the synergy in between these members is just something we haven't seen in a long time from any team out there.
And this is actually going on live right now outside of the venue.
It's great.
So Astralis right now, that's it. That's their day done. They are moving on to the grand finals. I mean, is this a shock to us? I mean, we've talked a lot about it so far on the desk. Seems like we were all pretty much on the same page in terms of Astralis being the team to beat at this tournament. They've made another grand final. They are so incredibly consistent.
It's not a shock for two reasons. First of all, we said that their T side might be a danger. They come into this game with 10 T rounds. I repeat, 10 T rounds. Nuke is supposed to be the pinnacle of a CT map, right? You want to have that CT side, you want to be on the defense. Doesn't matter for Astralis. They win T rounds, losing the pistol rounds. On both halves, they lose the pistol round, but they break you down in the force buy, which means you never get to go with that economical advantage. They're always there. They're always behind you. So that's the first thing. Now, on their T side, something that struck to me and that was so impressive is that every member on the Astralis side is capable of multi-kit at any given time. And that is so rare on a map like Nuke. That is supposed to be close. That is supposed to be
cross them. Moving through the city like it's Gotham. They told me get one, so I got one. Stop saying you're a boss when you not one. You ain't sacrificed, nah, you ain't lost none. All over the gram like you got a bag. You ain't big dog, we ain't hear none of that. I'm in the gym looking like a running back. And you know the flow, got 'em coming back. Who I was in the past, I'm unattached. Only focus in this moment is bringing the summer back. Oh, respect my grind, elevate souls and I spread good vibes. Young divine, you know I gotta shine. Raise your hands for a good time. Aight.
Live until the morning, sleep until the noon. You said that you want it, so I got it for you. Let's all get together and show them how we move. We move, we move, bringing summer to you.
Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round. Yo, hold up, let me switch my flow up. Back in high school, they were telling me I'll blow up. Doing talent shows and man, everyone will show up. Got in an accident and still made it for them to go nuts. You know what? I'm so so what? I'm so That means I can't describe the way I vibe, the way I slide in with the rhymes that make the dimes all close their eyes and fantasize. Young divine calling their phone number. Yeah. No, you know I love it. And you know me, I can't sleep without blazing beats on stages for their ones gracefully. And I got a smile that they hate to see. Young black successful, though life gets stressful. Though life gets stressful, go and vibe out with whoever you next to.
Live until the morning, sleep until the noon. You said that you want it, so I got it for you. Let's all get together and show them how we move. We move, we move, bringing summer to you.
Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round again. Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round. You know Mark, South Stuff, South Stuff. Type to never let you double cross them. Moving through the city like it's Gotham. They told me get one, so I got one. Stop saying you're a boss when you not one. You ain't sacrificed, nah, you ain't lost none. All over the gram like you got a bag. You ain't big dog, we ain't hear none of that. I'm in the gym looking like a running back. And you know the flow, got 'em coming back. Who I was in the past, I'm unattached. Only focus in this moment is bringing the summer back. Oh, respect my grind, elevate souls and I spread good vibes. Young divine, you know I gotta shine. Raise your hands for a good time. Aight.
Live until the morning, sleep until the noon. You said that you want it, so I got it for you. Let's all get together and show them how we move. We move, we move, bringing summer to you.
Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round. Yo, hold up, let me switch my flow up. Back in high school, they were telling me I'll blow
FaZe
up.
versus Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, right? FaZe going up against Liquid. We have that game coming up, and I think what we saw yesterday was Liquid actually playing well despite losing to Astralis, whereas for FaZe Clan, it was a terrible performance. I think Nico said it pretty well in his loser interview that we couldn't play any worse than we did. So hopefully for the game's sake today, we'll see a FaZe Clan actually in a good shape. We see Cold Zero stepping up. We see Nico showing some of the old glimmer he has. And if they can do that, then we can have a competitive game on our hand between Liquid and FaZe Clan, who have some of the strongest individuals in the game.
Yeah, I agree on that. I mean, I don't want to burn that bridge too fast because we're going to talk about that game a little bit later today. But the one question is, the FaZe's level. That's my one integration point. If they come in here and they play great, we're going to have a very competitive series. Otherwise, Liquid just might slap them out.
It's going to be a complete blowout of FaZe Clan, or it's going to be a very close and intense match. It's one or the other.
So it feels like we're trying to make it a thing about FaZe, but it really does seem like, is Liquid just going to go ahead and show up for work? Right? Did they clock in? Are they warmed up? Are they ready? Do they do their jobs?
Well, we haven't seen that Liquid in quite some time, to be completely honest. It's been a rather lackluster Team Liquid. It's been a Liquid that has constantly been trying to find back to their own identity, you know, trying to find back to the period where they were the best team in the world, when nobody could beat them. The individual skill of Liquid is unheard of. When every single player is stepping up, you know, the worst player on that team is supposed to be Nitro. And as you said yesterday, it's been a few occasions where you just see him take over games by himself. So there's a lot of skill between these two teams. And yes, if Liquid find back to that level, then I think it's going to be very tough for FaZe Clan today.
No, absolutely. And what the Liquid that we have seen against Astralis, to me, is enough to absolutely smash anyone else on their way to the grand final, right? Astralis, they're waiting for them here. Now, Liquid, they lost, but again, 16-12, 16-13. I think individually we've seen greatness from NAF, for example. And what is even scarier is that there is a margin for improvement, for betterment in Twist, for example, in Nitro for sure. They can do better, they have to do better. And now on the side of FaZe, what we have seen was a very, very bleak picture. Tactically speaking, very disjointed. They got smacked by a NIP. So, I mean, yes, Liquid favorite.
So, before we are going to be covering that again, so I don't want to dive too deep into this next matchup. It's another best of 3 that's going to be coming up, guys. But before we get into that, we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll see where we land after that. And here we have him, the in-game leader, the head honcho for Astralis. Quick on his feet, quick in the action, quick in the clutch, but we got him now, boys. So, Glaive, welcome. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the win. That looked very clean.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. It was a clean game. I mean, NIP is a strong team, and they did really good yesterday. So we're really looking forward to a great fight. And actually, I didn't expect them 100% to pick the train, but it turned out to be really good for us.
What did you expect?
Exactly. I want to open it up now. These guys.
I actually kind of expected them to pick Vertigo. I mean, Overpass was a possibility as well. They beat us on Overpass in Copenhagen, the Blast Pro Series as well. So I was thinking that, but I mean, Vertigo, I think it was kind of a bad pick for them because they didn't feel really confident. We looked at the game against FaZe, and it's not like they looked 100% prepared on the map. So, but I still thought they would pick it because I thought they would think they had the best chance on that.
Cool. Now, just talking about Nuke now. So you had a period of time where you were invincible on the map. No one could ever test you.
Yeah.
Then you lost it a couple of times. People started to be okay to play against Nuke. Is that your intention now to make a statement and say, if you allow Nuke, we're going to pick it and we're going to win it anyway?
I mean, yeah, kind of. Of course, we're trying to do that. We have been working a lot on it. So yeah, I think that is what we're trying to do. But still, we have like a team like EG that we really can't beat on Nuke. So it's not the same as before. I mean, people is so much better now on Nuke than they were before. Before it was like we could just throw our grenades on the T side and nobody even tried to counter us. But now it's just anti-stratting all the time.
Let's rewind a little bit here, right? Because at the beginning of the year was very good for you guys. You won Katowice major. Then ever since that major win, you had a period where things didn't really go your way. Would you say there's a big difference between the Astralis you guys are showing now and back then in that rough period? And if you were to highlight some of the things that you guys are doing better now than in that rough period, what would that be?
Yeah, that's actually pretty tough because like every sports career or every sports team has like up and going. It's going up and down in your career, and I think we just had a down period and now we are on our way back up. It's really tough to say what exactly it is that is making us better, but I believe some of them is that we are trying to work a bit in another way. I guess we were not burnt out, but we were a little. We lost like the lust and the hunger.
A bit tired.
Tired. We lost the hunger to win, and that came back. So I think that is why we're here again.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. In every career, there's ups and downs in every team. But I think the difference between you and others is that some other teams, when they have a down, they go really down. Sometimes they even split, they change roster, they go completely crazy. Why do you think it is that you guys, you stay calm, you remain composed, and then you started winning again? How was it you were working when you were in the lowest, let's put it this way?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a lot of talks with our sports psychologist. We have a lot of talks in between us, just the team of us. When we're at events, we're trying to not go too much into depth. If a player is having a rough time individually, let's not talk too much about that, because that won't make us better if we talk about it, because he's not going to get better. He has to find himself. He has to have talk with his sports psychologist. Has to find out what did he do, what is he doing wrong in this period, and what didn't he do before. So I think not going too much into depth about why you are losing and stuff like that, and just take it chill. You have been #1 team before. You can do it again. You just have to change small things.
Let's talk a little bit about you then, because we at the desk here, and I think a lot of us out there, highly consider you to be the best in-game leader in the game right now. We often hear other AWP players, for example, they refer to Device as being a guy they look demos at, they try to find inspiration. Is there anyone out there in the world that you try to find inspiration in, or is it all about you and all about, I'm doing my thing?
I mean, back in the days, I watched a lot of demos, as you probably know. But but now I think we have a rough schedule right now, and I think it's tough for me to have all the practice, have all the tournaments, and then also in my spare time go and look at demos from other players, especially when you're #1.
Sure.
You don't have that hunger right now, but if you start to lose and you start to play bad individuals, I like to go for just players like Symbol or Saiwu just to look at them. I don't look too much about other in-game leaders, but I like to just look at some of the best players in the world.
It's kind of funny, right? Because you often hear other AWP players, for example, they refer to a Device or a Fallen because they have a specific playstyle. But whereas for you, you kind of just run the ship by yourself, right? In terms of what you think is the best.
Yes, exactly.
Simple as it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Easy, right?
Well, it is nice to actually have the simplicity. You cut the fat out. Occam's razor, right? Just go straight to the solution.
It's pretty skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys work out together, I guess. I mean, that is actually a thing. Do you guys still keep a focus? Because there are certain teams that really do focus on having the team practice physically. Putting that as a part of the requirements for playing in the tournament. You're having like gym time as a team. You have a personal trainer, maybe even a dietitian. Is that something that you think has worked out for Astralis going on?
I think it has been really good for us to get all of these ideas into our mind from Astralis. They have been helping us a lot with making sure that we know how much it affects us. But you also have a rough schedule with tournaments, so you have to be really large, and that is where I think Danny is like the best coach in the world, because he's really strict, but he knows when they need the space. And sometimes it's me that needs the space, sometimes it's some of the others, and he's just really large, so every day we need to meet at breakfast and we need to go gym afterwards.
Yeah.
But if a player is like, oh, I've been having such a bad sleep or something like that, he's always just like, okay, it's fine, don't worry. If you're having a rough time right now, then just take your time off and we'll find out. And the rest of us will do it together.
It sounds like he encourages people, players on your team to take responsibility.
Yes, he actually is. That is something that is both working outside the game, but also inside the game. Initiative is one of the things that we've been talking. Now you said before what happened in our worst period and what we are doing different now. And I think initiative is one of them. Before we didn't take too much initiative, so we need to look for where we can get the open picks. How are we going? What did they just do and how do we counter it? And before it was only me that has to do it, but I can't see everything. I don't see all the screens at once. So the other guys need to take a lot of initiative and they're doing a really good job with that.
That sounds fascinating to me in terms of decentralized command. It sounds like what Astralis are trying to use right now. Yeah. Different layers, people taking initiative and having responsibility. Maniac,
speaking of that, I completely agree with the initiative. Is it something that you're trying to do in practice as well? Because I think there are a lot of people watching you right now, and obviously they want to be as good as Astralis one day if they can. How do you use your practice time? Do you play to win? Do you play to test some specific things? What is your focus when you're home and you're preparing for a tournament?
So the funny thing is that it's not always me calling in practice. I don't know if everybody actually knows, but sometimes Sonic is also calling, especially if we just have been to events and I need a break with calling because it can be really hectic and it can be really tough for your mind to be 100% on all the time. So sometimes Danny is taking over. He's calling the tactics for us in practice. But up till events, like 1 week up till events, it's pretty much always me that is calling, so we get into the flow, and that is where we try to win a lot. When Danny is calling, it's more about running our tactics. If he has some new things, we're trying to run it, but it's mainly about running our tactics and just get some hours onto the...
Yeah, it sounds like maintenance. So, just to end on this note, Danny, he's won another Coach of the Year award.
That's true.
Deserved?
It's so much deserved. I mean, that guy, he is amazing. And he's one of the guys, I don't know, it's hard to describe how Danny is because he's so good at his job. And he's just, it's not even like he's not only large, but he's so hardworking. And that's what I admire the most, actually. The guy, he can just, after a game, he go and he chills a bit, but then in the middle of the night, he can go and prepare the games for us tomorrow. So we have some video to look at and stuff like that. So I mean, Danny, he's doing a really good job. He deserves all the credit he's getting right now.
I think we should leave this on a smile here. How much do we look forward to the vacation after this tournament?
Oh, I mean, it has been 3 weeks from home now in a row. This is our last tournament of the year. Of course, we look forward to it, but we want to end the year in a great way, and we will only do that by winning here. So right now, our focus is about winning here, but I mean, I'm looking.
You're smiling just by thinking.
I'm looking forward to the vacation. I am.
Well, Glaive, thank you very much for the interview.
Guys.
Congratulations on making another grand final, and we'll see. End strong. Get that vacation. We're not getting a vacation yet, but we're going to take a little break.
All right.
And when we come back, we'll be able to actually get into the second best of 3 of the day, and it is going to be an elimination match. So one of these teams is going to go on vacation early. We'll find out who.
They told me get one, so I got one. Stop saying you're a boss when you not one. You ain't sacrificed, nah, you ain't lost none. All over the gram like you got a bag. You ain't big dog, we ain't hear none of that. I'm in the gym looking like a running back. And you know the flow, got him coming back. Who I was in the past, I'm unattached. Only focus in this moment is bringing the summer back. Oh, respect my grind, elevate souls and I spread good vibes. Young divine, you know I gotta shine. Raise your hands for a good time. Aight.
Live until the morning, sleep until the noon. You said that you wanted, so I got it for you. Let's all get together and show them how we move. We move, we move. Bringing summer to you.
Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round. Yo, hold up, let me switch my flow up. Back in high school, they were telling me I'll blow up. Doing talent shows and man, everyone would show up. Got in an accident and still made it for them to go nuts. You know what? I'm so what? I'm so That means I can't describe the way I vibe, the way I slide in with the rhymes that make the dimes all close their eyes and fantasize. Young divine calling their phone number. No, you know I love it. And you know me, I can't sleep without blazing beats on stage just for that one's gracefully. And I got a smile that they hate to see. Young black successful, though life gets stressful. Though life gets stressful, go and vibe out with whoever you next to.
Live until the morning, sleep until the noon. You said that you wanted, so I got it for you. Let's all get together and show them how we move. We move, we move. Bringing summer to you.
Oh, ready, let's go. Cause you know how we roll. Let's take it round the world and back again. Ready, let's go. Cause you know like I know. We'll take it round and round again.
In the dark of night, the
I'm calling you from the future to let you know we made a mistake. And there's a fall from the past that's giving me such a headache. And I'm back with the madness. I'm a champion of the people who don't believe in champions. I got nothing but dreams inside. I got nothing but dreams. I'm just young enough to still believe. But young enough not to know what to believe in. Young enough not to know what to believe in. Yeah. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. I got rage every day on the inside. The only thing I do is sit around and kill time. I'm trying to blow out the pilot light. I'm trying to blow out the light. I'm just young enough to still believe. But young enough not to know what to believe in. Young enough not to know what to believe. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. Champion, I can do anything. Champion. And I can do anything. Champion. And I can do anything. Champion. I'm calling you from the future to let you know we made a mistake. And there's a far from the past that's giving me such a headache.
And I'm back with the madness. I'm a champion of the people who don't believe in champions. I got nothing but dreams inside. I got nothing but dreams. I'm just young enough to still believe. But young enough not to know what to believe in. Young enough not to know what to believe in, yeah. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. I got rage every day on the inside. The only thing I do is sit around and kill time. I'm trying to blow out the pilot light. I'm trying to blow out the light. I'm just young enough to still believe. But young enough not to know what to believe in. Young enough not to know what to believe in. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, I can do anything. Champion, I can do anything. Champion. And I can do anything. Champion. And I can do anything. Champion. I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live through this, and I can do anything. I can do anything. I can do anything. If I can live through this, if I can live through this, if I can live, if I can
Some keep a diary, seems like a fantasy, but it may require some love and desire, something to cover me. There's never a guarantee that loving is so easy. Some may define it as sugar and brownies, but hard just as slimy. Ooh, no, you know. Ooh, no, you know, no, no, no. No, no, no. Ooh, no, you know. Ooh, no, you know, no, no, no. No, no, no. Son of the ocean breeze, somewhere you promised me a love like a fire, no freeze, no denial, just something to gladden me. I feel electricity, your lighting is guiding me. I feel that I like it, no place we can hide it, so hard not to find it. Ooh,